Appreciate you being here, and thank you for your patience this morning as I was traveling here on a wake-up call with Dan Tortora's beautiful road. So happy to be here with you, happy to hang out inside of the Café Kubal studios, and I welcome you to a fantastic morning this morning, and definitely appreciate you all being here where sports meets that thing called life. Café Kubal Studios, obviously giving you our connection to Café Kubal, a fantastic local company in our community of Central and Upstate New York. We want to thank them for all the work that they have done tirelessly over the years to do everything that they can to be a part of what we do and a part of the community and a part of the fabric and the heartbeat of Central and Upstate New York. So a cup of coffee goes a long way, and in my case, a cup of chai goes a long way, because you know that I love my chai from Café Kubal. So make sure you get out there and get your favorites today by simply going to 3501 James Street as well as 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, New York. You can also go inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse to the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners for their drive-through location in North Syracuse, as well as on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius. And now I can proudly say the return of 324 West Water Street, Creekwalk Commons location. Make sure you get out to Café Kubal today. So, with that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, welcome, and thank you so much for being a part of the show. And again, thank you for your patience. We have a fantastic show to hop into inside of MyOnPausPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. The Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly brought to you by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. And of course, the top dog of the week is going to be announced, brought to you by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. And we'll round out the show, as we always do on Fridays, with your exclusive Pacer Pride episode spotlighting the Marywood Pacers and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. And for the first time ever, we get to spotlight Dana Ciccotti, the head coach of the women's tennis team at Marywood University, with a very unique and awesome story. So I'm very excited for that. With that being said, it's time to jump into the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is truly what happy tastes like. And let's hop right in to the Annoying Moment of the Week here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The Annoying Moment of the Week.
I'm really honest. I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
The Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like. And my annoying moment of the week. Well, I can tell you this, and I don't know how other people are about this, but I'm not a huge fan of driving in the rain. And, you know, I know that people don't like driving in the snow and driving in the ice, and obviously those arguments can be made for sure that those aren't the fun things to do. But driving in the rain, I just feel like I find it hard to see. And as much as they redo the roads and they reset the lines and all that stuff and, you know, repaint them, I should say, you know, I don't know. I had to travel overnight last night, and it rained the majority of the time, and it was just hard for me to actually see the road itself through there. I just feel like rain gets really annoying for a driver, so I got to call it the Annoying Moment of the Week because it was very annoying. Now, God got me here safe and sound, and, you know, I was wide awake, and so obviously, thanks to God and thanks to the fact that despite being tired, you know, I didn't have an issue with any of that. You know, I was wide awake and ready to go. But I feel like when it rains, it just makes things difficult to see them. And it really doesn't matter, you know, what time of year it is. I feel like that's just a thing that happens. And it gets really annoying to me because, you know, you're looking and you're driving and you're trying to see what's going on. And I always get nervous, like, what if somebody ran across the street or, you know, something like that happens, especially when it's dark outside. And that's really what I'm referring to, right? When it rains and it's dark especially, it's definitely an annoying moment of the week. I don't have to tell you that if you're a driver, I'm sure you know already, and I'm sure you can concur, but I wonder, and you can feel free to answer this, folks, what's worse for you? Is it driving in the rain? Is it driving in the snow? Which one is the one that you prefer the least of? So, I've driven in some torrential, really bad rainstorms, and those were not fun by any stretch of the imagination down in Florida. And then, here, thank God, knock on wood, the rain's not that bad, but I don't know. It's just something about driving in the rain that I don't like it. It's not a cup of tea of mine. I'll also say an annoying moment of the week is Gonzaga losing in the NCAA tournament. I have been waiting. I became a fan of watching Gonzaga and just like everything about them and their logo and whatnot. Obviously, grew up in Syracuse, and my connection to Syracuse. And there's other teams that I like to watch, and one of those teams that I like to watch has been, Gonzaga. And if I go back to being a teenager, that's like 2 decades now, like 20 years of time that I've enjoyed watching Gonzaga. So I can't, I'm not going to sit here and call myself by any stretch of the imagination a fair weather, because I've been watching them and connecting with them in some way, shape, or form since I was, a kid. And so, I'll always be a kid at heart, but like being a teenager and going back to those moments. So, I can honestly tell you that I'm not one of those bandwagon jumpers. I'm one of those people that liked Gonzaga when people thought I was nuts. And they're like, why would you like a team like that? And that's stupid and that's ridiculous and they're never going to win and so on and so forth. Well, one of my annoying moments of the week is here we are again and there's no Gonzaga. And it gets hard to see that for this team. And I know, obviously you're in control of your own destiny and, you decide where you go and whatnot. They can't blame anybody but themselves. But Mark Few said, he was like, listen, we took the shots that we wanted to take. We did the things we wanted to do, and they didn't fall. It's not that they didn't, get the looks that they wanted to get. The shots just didn't fall. And it's unfortunate. But, the tough thing to me is, being in control of your destiny, and sometimes you just have an off shooting night, right? Sometimes it just doesn't work out, no matter what you do. And I've seen those games, you've seen those games, they happen. And when those games happen, it gets frustrating and it gets, upsetting. Good morning to Jermaine, how are you? So, but ultimately, what can you do? And I think that, they just ran into that, right? They ran into a time where things just weren't going in their direction, and ultimately they lost the game by a couple possessions there down the stretch. And it's sad for me to see because, it's kind of like it's sad, but with the annoying moment of the week, I always try to spin it to a positive. So the sad part of it is Gonzaga lost, and I root for the Zags. So, in the comfort of my own home, that's sad. The positive side of it is I had Gonzaga Villanova in the championship, and I didn't want that to happen to Gonzaga because I really didn't think that they were going to win that game. So now I don't have to see it, and now I could just feel comfortable at the fact that I can, root on the fact that I have Villanova winning this whole thing because I believe that they can. But, this is wide open. This is such a fantastic NCAA tournament. I said before things got started that you might as well take the seeds off, take the number seeds off and just play the game because these games are going to be intense. And I said this year, going into the NCAA tournament, go and check the tape. I said, this, in my opinion, may be like the craziest year where literally anybody can win. Like maybe crazy, but just crazy to some people. But in all honesty, I just feel like with the COVID, with the extra year and people coming back, and then in general, there was already this movement of the teams that keep their players for 3 to 4 seasons and they really get to know each other, that they're going to, look at St. Peter's, right? A team that, you go there, you go to the MAC, the MAC, and then you stay and you play up against a team like Kentucky where it's, they recycle, not recycle, but every single year they got to start over when they're getting those one and done. So, the one and done thing had a fad. I was never into it. I never liked that, hey, come play for us for a year and then go to the NBA and, screw college. I was never a fan of that. And I'm not saying that that's what John Calipari said, but you're obviously not getting much of an education. And in some cases, are you even going to class because, you only have to really do the bare minimum to stay eligible, and then you can leave with 3 years on the left there for you to need to get a bachelor's degree. So I was never a fan of that one and done, and over time the Gonzagas and the St. Peters and George Masons of old and whatnot, these teams were finding ways to get those other teams, and you're like, well, how did it happen? And you think it's a fluke if it happens once or twice, but then when it happens every single season and then it starts happening more consistently, you realize the fact that this could have a lot to do with the reality that these aren't one and done schools, and these teams are obviously getting to know each other, working together, and having a lot of time to build and hone their talent. The coach stays around, the players stay around, and you get everything together there, and you really get to put the pieces together. So Gonzaga, has had some guys leave early as they've continued to get better, but at the same time, there's still, a school where you get to develop, and I think that that's been important. So I think that speaks volumes to the fact that, I thought this year would be, I just felt like this year was wide open, because anybody that was number one in the country didn't hang there, right? Duke didn't hang there, Auburn didn't hang there, the Kentuckys of the world didn't hang there, Baylor didn't hang there. I mean, Gonzaga had a lot of time there, but that goes to show you something too, is that Gonzaga was the team that was never even ranked. A lot of people didn't even know who they were, what state they were in, which is Washington. And now, here we are with the Zags being the top-ranked team in the nation, and typically having a chokehold of that. So, they're gone. Arizona's gone. So this has played out to be exactly what I thought, which was just a wide-open tournament, and it continues to be open season. So part of my annoying moment of the week, I want to see the Zags win a championship, and they're out now. But to swing it to a positive, I don't have to see them play Villanova in the championship that I had, which brings me some peace, because it's hard to choose between Jay Wright and Mark Few, and now I don't have to. So with that being said, that's been your annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Head out there today and all throughout the week. Don't let the cold weather fool you, no matter what the weather is, no matter what time of year it is. Carvel DeWitt is open for you year-round, and you can go there and get the Wake Up Call Sunday, and our new Sunday is coming to you very soon with a deep connection and deeply rooted to the local community, and I cannot wait to unveil that for you there exclusively at Carvel DeWitt, the longest-standing Carvel franchise in America, and I would love some of that Carvel ice cream cake for breakfast, which I have done many times, so I would love to do that this morning, so go and get some for me. 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Carvel DeWitt in the annoying moment of the week. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we will have Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly featuring Juanita Ward, and that is brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay right after this, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. You're also watching and listening on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/live-now-dt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So, good morning and hello, people. Inside of the Cafe Cubal studios, I'm always happy to be here with you and always happy to rock with my sis every single Friday for LEAD, which is the acronym that stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. And created this acronym back in December of 2019, as we've spoken about before. Something inside of me, I said, I want to do a faith-based segment. I mean, the show is all about faith. I never hide that. But I wanted to do something that was really, specific and something we could do special. And Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, I want to thank Jimmer Sikowski and the entire team for seeing the value in that and everything we get to do. And then I went to Juanita. I said, listen, if I'm going to do a faith-based segment, I got to have my partner that's right there with me when it comes to talking to God, believing in God, praying, and just appreciating that life is so much bigger than us. So this has been a beautiful, beautiful opportunity, and I'm so grateful, especially at the time that God gave it to us, that we had the chance to have it in December of 2019 and carry it into 2020 when the world changed. And so it means a lot to me that we had that timing. God's timing is perfect, and this is obviously an example of that. So with that being said, I am more than honored and privileged to welcome my sister back to the show. We have a new topic for today and every single week right around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So it is my honor to welcome back to the show the mentor, the motivational speaker, the author, and all-around just fantastic basketball player, coach, and more than anything, the kind-hearted, loving, caring person that puts God first. My sister, Miss Juanita Ward. Juanita, how you doing today?
Hey, Dan. Thank you so much, man. You really know how to give an introduction. Thank you.
Well, you tell the truth. I know you're humble, but it's important to me to you tell the people that are out there doing good things to that you appreciate them. And I think it's imperative to make sure to take the time, and that's something that I don't shy away from, is to tell people thank you for what they do. And you're one of the best people I know when it comes to uplifting spirits, being positive and helping. And no matter what's going on in your life, you find a way to pay it forward. So, I'll always have an intro for you, Juanita, because I appreciate you.
Dan, you're awesome, man. You're awesome. I really, really, really appreciate that. God has just been so good, and what can you do but to just give him thanks and to just give him glory? I never think of myself as being bigger than anything. I know many times that I've fallen, many times that I have, failed him. His grace and his mercy still was there to say, you know what? I'm going to surround you with good people. I'm going to surround you with Dan. I'm going to surround you with some other people because I know what's inside of you can help what's inside of them. And so I appreciate you, and I love doing this show, man. So I'm excited for the topic today. I can't wait.
Yeah, and let's jump right into it. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. Proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, which is a fantastic, two fantastic places to go to. Chick-fil-A in and of itself, a wonderful place that's unapologetic about God and so open and honest about it. And I thank them for that every single day. And, of course, you couple that with fantastic food and people, and it's second to none. So with today's topic, Inside a Lead, it's why not an eye for an eye, right? The Bible talks about it. We know that way back when to where we are today, that has been something. You know, somebody does something to me, why can't I, enact revenge? Why can't I get back at them? Why can't I show them, what pain feels like? And I feel like that's something that people, fight with, right? The want to even the score. So, Juanita, I bring it to you first. Why not an eye for an eye?
Dan, that's a great, this is a great topic, and that is a great question. A lot of people ask that question, why can't I get them back? Why can't I say something back? Why can't I do something to get back at whatever hurt me? And that's typically what we do as emotional beings, right? Like, we want to get the person back, right? And so as a child, what does a child do? A child, another kid hits that child, the child retaliates and hits the child back, and then all of a sudden, the only person that got caught was the last person that hit.
Yeah.
The only person that gets caught is the last person that does something, because sometimes what's done first is not really seen. It affects the person, but it doesn't affect the last incident. And when we think about an eye for an eye, why not? It's not right. Because the reality of it is this. Do I want to spend my life in retaliation, in a victim's mindset? Always playing the victim. It's always everybody is against me. Nobody knows my story. Nobody understands what I go through on an everyday basis. This person did this to me 20 years ago. This situation hurt me a year ago. And so I act out because I'm wanting to get back. I have a grudge in my heart because I want to get back. That's not the reality and the way things should be. Because now you develop a heart and a mentality and a mindset of unforgiveness, rebellion. You start to become deteriorated inside of your own mind, still living in a yesteryear mindset. So is it right to want to get somebody back? Absolutely not. Is it right to want to, hold a grudge against someone? Absolutely not. Is it right to forgive? Most definitely. Is it right to understand that God said that the battle belongs to me? Most definitely. When people live in the frame of mind, I'm going to get you back, that's where you have the confusion. That's where you have the misunderstandings. Sometimes, yes, people do things to be spiteful. Sometimes people do things out of hurt. But as you've heard me state many of times, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Heal people help people. Let me say that again. Hurt people hurt people. Healed people help people. When you can lay yourself aside and say, you know what? Sometimes I have to agree to disagree and walk away. Sometimes you may need to let the person think that they won. At the end of the day, it takes two to argue. It takes two people to actually start a fire. If you don't give the spark to the fire, it doesn't become a fire. If you're the water to the fire, then it's put out. We have to learn how to be smart in our smart situations. And then we have to learn how to pick and choose the people that are supposed to be in our life, not the people that we want to be in our life. There are some people that you need to be in your life, and there are some people that want to be in your life, which means you have those type of people that are there only for a season, and you have to know the seasonal people. Everybody is not meant to be in your life for the long haul. Sometimes those people that are brought into your life for a season, they can manipulate and disguise as if they're supposed to be in your life for a long haul, and all of a sudden cause havoc. And then makes you have to have this notion or this phrase, an eye for an eye. That's not how it's supposed to be. We have to be able to figure out who's supposed to be in our life and who's not supposed to be in our life. It goes back to those wants and needs. Do you need this or do you want this?
Yeah, and that's it's a topic that we've all grappled with. I've grappled with. Is understanding. Is this person supposed to be here for a season? Is this person supposed to be here for a lifetime? Is this person here to teach me something? Or is this person here to truly be a part of my life? And and I think that wants and needs, like you said, figuring out, and once to be okay with it, and to have peace with it, to say, okay, my dad said to me recently, he was like, wow, he's like, you can kick somebody out of your life really quick. And I said, why would you think that? Well, this with this person, this with that. And I said, Dad, I realize with certain people, if they're willing to go to certain places and cross certain lines and do certain things, I don't care how long I've known you, I can forgive you, and I will. But I'm not going to continue to have toxicity in my life or to continue to have people around me that I cannot trust. If I can't put you at my dinner table and ask you questions and trust that, the things we talk about are in confidence and trust that, we can grow together and trust that you're looking out for my best interest, if you don't have that, then to me it's not worth it. And so I immediately said to my dad, I'm like, the people that are no longer in my life chose not to be. And I'll say that again, the people in my life that are no longer here chose not to be. Because it's not that you kick them out, it's that they kick themselves out, and you just got to be hip enough to the game to understand when those moments happen. Is it just a moment in time where people make mistakes, or is this a habitual thing that's going to continue? And you have to be able to say, because there were people that I let stay in for such a long time. They're supposed to be there for a season, right, Juanita? They were supposed to be there for the spring. And they were dang near in the summer, the fall, part of the winter. And Juanita's calling me up going, they're not supposed to be here for all these seasons. So you learn those moments. You learn those times where you let somebody stay in way longer than the season that they were supposed to be there. And what I've learned over time is, I'm nice, right? I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. And I didn't know how to say, like, hey, this isn't good for me. And I realized that. I was sitting down with my best buddy, Evan, and I said to him, I said, I get it now. And he looked at me and I said, when I knew it was time to move forward, I didn't, because I felt bad. Right? I didn't want to be the person to give bad news. I didn't want to be the person to say, hey, like, this isn't going to work out, or, I need to move forward or get out of this environment. And I ended up getting hurt more. So I think people need to understand that it doesn't make you ungodly to say, I hope that person has a great life, but I don't want to be connected to it. I don't think that puts you in a bad place, and I don't think it makes you ungodly. I think that the art of saying, I'll pray for you, I'll hope for you, but I'm not going to have a combative lifestyle. I'm not going to have a depressing lifestyle. I don't want to surround myself with negativity. I don't want to be around people I can't trust. And I don't want to be in a situation where you're going to punch my eye, and I'm going to want on the human side to have an eye for an eye. So I think, why not an eye for an eye? Because it really does make the whole world blind, and eventually somebody will poke your eye as it goes all the way around the world. But at the same time, I think, Juanita, it's just the intelligence and the self-care to know that when you're in a situation where you have somebody in your life that's trying to not only get you in the eye, but get you to respond, that it's okay to not only not give an eye for an eye, but to step away from those situations that aren't fruitful and aren't good. And I think that, people play on that all the time, and I'm sure somebody said this to you, but when I realized something wasn't good and I, chose to get away from it and not want to be around it, they said, what would Jesus do? Jesus would love me. Jesus would keep me around. Jesus would do this. And I said, that's such an unfair argument to make. That's like Jesus would never tell me stay in turmoil, stay in peril, stay in stress, stay in negativity. But people, when they do things bad to people, some people will say to you, well, you believe in God, and God would just let me do this a million times over. How do you respond to that when they say, hey, you can't get rid of me because God wouldn't get rid of me, and they put it on you that as you sit there in pain, they ask you to continue to go through it, and they combat you to try and give an eye for an eye?
Well, that's where, as a Christian, you have to be smart. And according to Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 through 42, it tells us that we are to turn the other cheek, especially when someone is trying to, and here I am now as I'm taking that scripture a little bit deeper. When someone tries to lead you into a argument or lead you into a situation, you don't have to argue back. It takes two to argue. You don't have to get out of character. It takes two to argue. And sometimes the best thing is to keep silent. According to James 1:19, chapter 1, verse 19, in the book of James, it says this: be slow to speak, slow to anger, quick to listen. So when a person knows who they are and the person knows whose they are, there's a different level of confidence that takes place, and you're no longer consumed and you're no longer converted, if you will, but you are transformed. You're no longer conformed to the way that someone should say that you should think. When you know who you are and you know whose you are, it's very important to have confidence in yourself. It's very important to know your characteristics. It's very important to know your fruit. And Dan, you mentioned that just a little while ago about knowing your fruit. It's very important to know the fruit that you carry, because the reality is, if I plant an apple tree, I want to reap apples. If I plant a banana tree, I want to reap bananas. If I plant an orange tree, I want to reap oranges. If I plant a pear tree, I don't want to reap grapes. I planted a pear tree. I would love to reap what I planted. But the reality is, if I plant something, whatever you plant, you shall reap. That's just the truth. So knowing your characteristics and knowing who you are gives you the understanding that these are the things that you are supposed to operate in. When they tell you that you're a boy, you act like a boy. When they tell you that you're a girl, you act like a girl, right? Yeah. Some people say, well, what is acting like a girl? I mean, well, come on now. Girls don't do certain things that guys do. Girls can't lift certain things that guys can lift. You see what I'm saying? And when you know your characteristic and you know what you have and you know who you are, you stand on that. So you ask me, and I hear you asking, Dan, what is the characteristics, right? And you mentioned about fruit. So according to Galatians chapter 5, verse 22, it says that our fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. But the greatest of all of this is love. So if we don't know the fruit and the characteristic and the attribute of who we are, how do we know how to respond when things get tough? How do we know how to respond when things get rough? How do we know how to respond when someone is acting out of character? Do we act out with no self-control, with no self-discipline? Do we argue back? When we know who we are, we know how to respond to certain things. I've never seen an unconfident person respond to a person that's unconfident. I've never seen someone give an uneducated answer to a person that they would deem to be uneducated. When someone is talking to somebody, they try to give the best educated answer that they possibly can give. They try to give the best solution to the problem that they can possibly give. But that all goes back to knowing who you are. That all goes back to knowing your confidence. That all goes back to knowing your characteristic. That all goes back to knowing what attribute you have. And once again, our fruit, because we are seeds, that have been planted. And we have to grow forth. Once again, when I plant an apple, I want to reap an apple. I want to reap that by the words that I speak. So whatever I speak, I want to reap that. According to Proverbs 18:21, it says that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So whatever you speak, you're planting, and those words the next day, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, a year from now, they're going to come back forth. It is extremely important to understand that. It is extremely, extremely important to understand your fruit. What fruit are you planting? When people look at you, they should be able to tell your characteristic off of hello. They should be able to see, do you operate in love? Do you operate in joy? Do you operate in peace? Do you operate in long suffering? Do you operate in kindness? Do you operate in goodness? Do you operate in faithfulness? Do you operate in gentleness? Do you operate in self-control? And most importantly, love conquers a multitude of sin, because we all have fallen short.
Yeah.
Do we have enough patience to love somebody through their sufferings, through their shortcomings? Not to say that we have to be ignorant to the devices that are happening, but in the same sense, as you said a little while ago, yes, we can pray. We don't have to be a punching bag for anything. Yes, we can pray. Yes, we can believe. And yes, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So we have to be able to control what we say. We have to be able to control how we think. That is self-control. But if you don't know who you are, you don't know your characteristics.
Yeah, and I think, the topic for next week that we can kind of give a little foreshadowing to, Juanita, off of what you just said, is when you don't know who you are, right? The loss of identity. And I think that, I read the book of Revelation years ago, and I feel that the loss of identity is a foretelling sign of tribulation, right? And forgetting who you are. And, on a big scale, on a small scale, right? Just you and your house. And then in general, the loss of identity. It's such a dangerous road. If you don't know who you are, then somebody will tell you. And if you don't know what you stand for, then somebody will tell you. And people who don't know who they are and struggle to be confident in that are used as weapons, right? They're used as vehicles to drive someone's message, because a lost soul is easily manipulated. I'll say that again. A lost soul is easily manipulated. So I think, Juanita, where we should go next week is how the loss of identity is something that I think we're seeing on a large and small scale in the world today. And that loss of identity has led people to be used as vehicles. Because when you don't know who you are, somebody will tell you.
Dan, I think that's a great topic. And I think that's a great illustration. When you don't know who you are, you'll be used as a vehicle. Which means you're all over the place.
Yeah.
You're going everywhere. You're picking up everything. You're transporting everything. You're going to every single place without a GPS. And it's very important to know who you are. It's very important to know whose you are. But we're living in a generation now, in a world now, where a lot of people are rebellious. A lot of things are happening because of rebellion. A lot of things are happening because of not wanting to, follow instructions. despite what somebody may believe or what they may think or how they may feel about a specific person in government or a person in office, a person in, in leadership, at the end of the day, God puts up whoever he wants to put up. And he sits down whoever he wants to sit down.
Yeah.
When the world realizes that they cannot control God, they will let go and let God be God. Because just as God put up Nebuchadnezzar, he also can put up whoever he wants to, and he also can take down whoever he wants to. So nothing just happens. Everything happens for a reason. We may not ever understand that reason. We may not know the reason. Then again, God may reveal it to us at a later date when we are prepared and ready to understand.
Yeah.
However, my push is for people to know the Lord Jesus Christ. My heart's desire is for people to know the Lord Jesus Christ. Because knowing him, you understand that holding a grudge against somebody is not love.
Mm-hmm.
It's only hurting you. Trying to figure out why somebody left your life, it doesn't matter. Trying to figure out why somebody is doing what that doesn't matter. What matters is you getting an understanding of who you are and freeing yourself. Because why stay in something that's toxic when you can live in peace? Yes, it's in the Bible. God says that he wants us to live in peace. He says, peace be still. He also says, peace that surpasses all understanding. Yes, he wants us to live in peace and harmony with him because we have so much that we have to do as Christian brothers and sisters in Christ.
Yeah.
So my life's goal is, Dan, to help people see what's inside of them. And most importantly, to point them to the Lord Jesus Christ. I know that we have all different types of beliefs in the world. But the most important thing that I would say is this. I would love for everybody to believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Because he's the only one that has died on the cross for us. He's the only one that has took what we are talking about today, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. He took that for us on the cross. He actually had to endure getting his teeth knocked out. He actually had to endure getting his eyes scratched. He actually had to endure getting his skin pulled, ripped to shreds, having all types of lashes on him, just because of people that did not believe, people that were rebellious, people that wanted to sin against. Yes, he died a criminal's crucial death for absolutely no reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, we as free believers, we as free people, live an entitled life sometimes. Not being grateful, not being thankful. We give more to the problem. We give more to the problem other than trying to live in peace of the solution. We give more to why this is happening to me. It's becoming a pity party. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the way it's supposed to be. When we have moments of reflection and we think back, God, thank you for sending your son, Jesus. Thank you, God, for the scripture in the passage that says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. I don't know how many people can really grip or grasp that. God gave his only son so that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. I want to say it again. John 3:16 says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. The only thing he's asking is for us to believe.
Yeah.
Confess your sin. Believe. Don't try to get even. Don't try to get back. Because you'll waste your whole life trying to fight the past when God said that he has a plan for your future. You don't have eyes in the back of your head. Eyes are in the front of your head. It's not to look back at what happened and at what was. It's to keep moving forward. So when we talk about an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, some things you got to just let go and let God. Because it will cause you more of a discomfort than it will cause you comfort. Living a life to get somebody back is not the life of, it's not worth it. But living the life to say, you know what? God, I surrender. Because I know that your word says that the battle does not belong to me, it belongs to you. And I trust you fully. Because the fruit that I bear, the fruit that I bring forth, is fruit of love, joy, peace, long-suffering, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. And most importantly, God, you said that love conquers a multitude of sin.
And that's the beauty of it. Right? None of us are sinless. None of us have the right to throw a stone, and we'd all be hypocrites to do so. Love is the only thing that can combat evil and win. It's the only thing. Light can only cast out darkness. Darkness cannot cast out itself. Martin Luther King Jr. making statements along that line as well. Hate does not get rid of hate. Only love can. And so why not an eye for an eye? Because hate against hate doesn't make hate go away. It makes no sense, folks, right? If there's a fire and you take another burning fire and you throw it on top of the fire, it doesn't make the fire go away. Common sense, right? If you're trying to stop a flood, you don't pour more water on it. So how can hate ever get rid of itself? Love is the extinguisher. Love is the dam that you build to stop the water. Love is the thing that you give when you got nothing else to give. Love is the thing you give when you have everything to give. Love is the thing that you give when you don't know how to do anything else. They say that it takes more muscles and it takes more of a strain on your face to frown than it does to smile. Yet we frown a lot. Knowing who we are, knowing what we stand for, and knowing why we stand for it, again, the loss of identity, the loss of self, begets a lost soul. To find who you are, you must love. Hate won't get you there. Material things won't get you there. Sin won't get you there. Being negative won't get you there. Beating down other people won't get you there. Poking everybody's eyes out won't get you there. The only thing that can establish your identity and who you are is the one who made you, who knows you better than you know yourself, who knew your name before it was uttered once, who called you by your name before you even understood language. Somebody who you can go to today and lay in their arms and not wonder, are they checking their phone? Are they paying attention? Are they listening to me? Do they have time for me? Are they hearing what I'm saying? The problem with this world is we are searching place to place, thing to thing, person to person, looking for them to act like God or take the place of, instead of going to the source. Why want something to imitate God when you can have God himself? I cannot wait for next week and the topic of the loss of identity. And I'll say it again. Why continue to look for imitations of God when you can have God himself? I don't want something that's second best or looks like it or pretends to be it. I want the real thing. When I go to the grocery store, I know they have Cinnamon Toast Squares. I know they have Cinnamon Toast, whatever they want to call it. But Cinnamon Toast Crunch, that's what I get. Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a knockoff. I'm looking for the real thing. So stop looking for the world to give you God and let God give you the world. Because his is far different than the one that you're trying to live in. And if you follow his plan and you follow his purpose, you might just help make this one a little bit better. Juanita, as always, I appreciate it. And today I feel like we could sit here for 3 hours and just keep this thing rocking. So I cannot wait for next week. And as always, I love you and I thank you for joining so many in being unafraid and unapologetic to speak about God, to love God, and to try and help somebody else to know God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your commitment to joining me on an idea that having a segment where we really just get to help anybody and everybody anywhere through God working through us, that you picked up on that and said, yes. Because I am moved today to spend my whole day thinking about this topic and how I can get better. And I'm thankful for that because that comes from being able to talk to you. So I know we're changing people's lives. I've heard from people that have written to me very unique things going on in their life. And I'm just so moved by the fact that you continue to move me as well.
Dan, thank you so much, man. I'm super excited. Listen, if there's anybody out there that don't know the Lord Jesus Christ in their life, the only thing they have to do is say, Father, I'm a sinner. I know that I've sinned. I know that I've fallen short. But God, I believe I am forgiven. I forgive myself. I forgive anybody that has done anything against me. And Father God, I just ask that you come into my life. I believe that you died and you rose again on the third day. I believe, Father, that you have set me free. And I believe that I can live for you. In Jesus' name, amen. And so, Dan, if there's anybody that don't know the Lord, this is our job. It's our job to be on the battlefield. It's our job to bring restoration, hope, love, peace, and joy. Harmony. This is just what we do. And I appreciate you for having a show, having a platform that openly talks about God when there's so much going on in the world today, and we really, really need to, be the light. We really need to be who we say that we are. Christians have to stand out. There has to be a distinction between Christians and somebody else. You have to be able to stand out. You have to be able to stand out for your Father, because the God that we serve is a big God, not a small guy. He's huge. He's huge. He's absolutely huge. So we cannot limit him, because just as God told Sarah, where she knew that she wasn't able to give child, but as God told Sarah in the midst of her doubting, God said to Sarah, is there anything too hard for God?
Yeah.
And this year she had a baby. So take that, run with it. As always, Dan, I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all that you're doing, man. Keep moving forward. Keep speaking the words. Even when we get off this show, keep speaking about the love of Jesus, because people are listening to your words. They're listening to how you respond, and they're watching your every move. I love you, my brother. I'm praying for you. God bless, man.
I love you too. And I want to do that really quick to God is a comedian, and it was shown in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, it was shown in the beginning. You talk about that. When God was talking to Abraham, and he said, why does your wife think that I can't do this? Why does she laugh at me? And then she came out and she goes, no, I didn't say that. And God came back and said, yeah, you did. And so I remember just sitting there going, wow, right in the beginning of the Bible, God is calling somebody out going, hey, I heard you. I hear everything. And I loved, and I remember sitting there in my bed reading the Bible going, you really are who I think you are. You're funny. When she was just like, I didn't say it, and he looked at Abraham and he's like, why does she laugh at me? And she's like, I didn't laugh, God. And he goes, yeah, you did laugh. I was like, did God just call her out? God was like, I heard you around the corner. I heard what you said. He's like, I heard you laughing at me, and that's cool. Do you, because I'm me. And I love the fact that I'm sitting here going, wow. It's written in the Bible that God is going to call you out, be funny, and be clear, and say, who do you think I am? And I love that, because he's the great I am. And everybody that tries to play it is just playing a part, right? They're acting on stage, but they're not the real deal. And impersonating God will only get you everywhere you don't want to go. So, next week, the loss of identity and the importance of that. We'll get ready to unpack it. And as always, Juanita, thank you for everything. Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Jimmer Ciccotti, continue to pray for him in his fight against ALS. And continue to pray for everything that he has done to bring God to others through his life and through his adversity. God is definitely using Jimmer as a vehicle, and I pray that God will do that for decades and decades to come, because miracles can happen. They do happen. I have witnessed them plenty times over. So I pray for Jimmer. I pray for you all. And Juanita, I'm always praying for you. And thank you, as always, for being awesome.
Thanks, Dan, man. Don't forget, I can, I will succeed. Never stop believing. Team Jesus.
It's the only team to be on. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. That coming from Juanita Ward. I love that. Team Jesus. And then click. I love that. That's a little mic drop moment. So I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you to all of you. And thank you to Juanita Ward for being a part of segments like this, for listening, for caring, for believing, or at least being open to believing. This isn't a Bible thumping fest. This is two people trying to be good people going out here into the world saying, how do we help? How can I help you sleep better tonight? How can I help you move forward? And I found that when I bring God to every conversation, that conversation is never truly bad. Some people don't listen. But when I bring God to every table that I sit at, I will always be in good company. And I'm moved to cry right now. I'm moved to smile so big right now for the rest of the day, and to just look up and say, hey, life is so much better when you stop trying to impersonate God and you just ask the real one to sit with you. We're crazy to think that in the cafeteria of life, we have the right to tell God where he can sit. So it would behoove you to open up a chair at your table and break bread with the one that gave it to you. We'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Cue Ball Studios. When we come back, we will honor the top dog of the week, proudly presented by K9 Kampground and K9 Kamp Dog Daycare, two fantastic places for long and short-term care, respectively, for your furry loving friend, including Lily, make sure you get out to Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground of East Syracuse right off of Bridge Street. And we'll give our top dog of the week right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. And, of course, for those of you on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on facebook.com/livenowdt. So however you're tuning into the show, I appreciate you so very much for being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So much appreciation for all of you being here and being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So, with that being said, from inside the Cafe Kubal studios, Cafe Kubal located for you all throughout Central and Upstate New York. You can go to 3501 James Street as well as 324 West Water Street in the Creekwalk Commons location, now reopened in Syracuse. You can go to 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, as well as inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location of North Syracuse, and 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So make sure you fill your cup up right today. And if it's me, then I'm filling it up with a chai. I'm doing chai with almond milk, and then I'm picking a bunch of different flavors. So there's the honey flavor, there's the brown sugar, there's, of course, my favorite, the pumpkin spice and mint. So many great different things to try at Cafe Kubal. So make sure, and there's a lavender one coming to you very soon. So very excited about that. And a big shout out to Cafe Kubal. A cup of coffee, cup of tea goes a long way. Chocolate chip banana bread as well. So make sure you head out there today and let them know the Wake Up Call sent you. With that being said, it's time to jump into our third piece of our trio of topics here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Friday for TGIF, and that is the Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground of East Syracuse, right off of Bridge Street. Our Top Dog of the Week's logo is going to get unveiled right now. Top Dog of the Week, the Augusta Jaguars. You know, if you've been listening to the show and watching the show the last few weeks here, I have had the opportunity to have Marywood University men's basketball alum, Mr. Zach Tinkham, on the broadcast. Zach is the full-time assistant coach of the Augusta Jaguars. He's in his first season as the full-time assistant coach and second season with the team overall. With this opportunity that he has had with Augusta down in Georgia to be part of this university and this men's basketball team, Coach Dip and the entire team have worked together, the staff and the student athletes, to be in a place as of last night where they are heading to the national championship game. The NCAA Division II men's basketball national championship, 50% of that are the Augusta Jaguars. So they are my top dogs of the week because I am proud of Zach Tinkham. I'm proud of all the work that he's done. I'm thankful that he's let me be a part of his road here as he has been extremely busy. And the only reason why he's not on the show today is because of everything that they have to do today to prepare and all the events and that they have to be a part of. And then they play tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the rights to call themselves national champions. The Augusta Jaguars, I want to go and I want to thank each and every piece of this team. So with that being said, I want to make sure that I give a congratulations to Coach Dip, the head coach in his 18th year. Of course, to Zach Tinkham, a friend of mine, to Lenny Carlson on the staff as well. And I want to give a big old shout out to everybody that has helped in this team have a fantastic season, 33-3, with one more to go to be called national champions. And I want to give a shout out also to Tyshawn Crawford, to Jaquez Kirby, to as well as Tyree Myers, to Troy Cracknell, to Miguel Arnold, to Darren Lucas White, to David Vitti, to Daniel Allen, to Jack Johnson, and the entire squad with the Augusta Jaguars. My top dogs of the week, because they have been simply incredible. 30-plus winning season, but they got one more to go. This is a team that went 15-3 in their conference. They never lost a non-conference game throughout their entire regular season. They've gone into the NCAA tournament, played a non-conference schedule, and defeated those teams. 20-0 at home this year. 10-3 on the road, 3-0 on neutral ground. Where they stand today is one game away from being crowned national champs. And they have to go through a team that knows what it's like to win a national championship in recent history in the Northwest Missouri State team that they will face in Evansville, Indiana this weekend. They will go up against the Bearcat and have the opportunity to show who will lead in the jungle of life, in the jungle of basketball. A Jaguar or a Bearcat. As CBS, that's right, baby, CBS, basic television, will be showing you the NCAA Division II Men's Basketball Championship this Saturday, March 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time between the Augusta Jaguars and the Northwest Missouri State Bearcat, pardon me. The Bearcats and the Jaguars fighting for a national championship. And I have been able to chronicle, thanks to Zach Tinkham, the road of the Augusta Jaguars from the beginning of from winning the Peach Belt Conference and punching their ticket to the NCAA tournament, all the way through the NCAA tournament to where they stand today with an opportunity to win a national championship, which would be their first ever in the history of Augusta University. I am so proud of the team, the players, the student athletes, all the unsung heroes, and so grateful. God bless me. So grateful, and God bless them, to be in this moment where I get to see somebody, a fellow Marywood University grad, that I get to see Zach Tinkham, who 2 years ago I was covering playing on the court, and now 2 years later is standing there on the sideline in a suit and tie, being a part of history. And an even greater history that can come this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on March 26th. So I hope that you'll be watching. I hope that you'll be listening. I hope that you'll be a part of it. And you can bet your behind that I will be right in front of a television watching this NCAA Division II Tournament Championship, the finale of 312 teams vying for one spot to be the last team standing, the last team on stage. The Augusta Jaguars, my top dogs of the week, because of all the work they've done, because of the story they've told, because of the overtime that had to take to get here, because of a shot with 1.7 seconds left. They have done what it is. They have given you a March Madness to remember. And yesterday, they went into a Final Four game, and they commanded the game and won by double figures. They are dangerous. They are focused. Miguel Arnold, who's been a stud for them, didn't barely have anything on the stat line. This team has had players step up when they need to step up. They are a true definition of a team. And Tyshawn Crawford went 12 for 12 from the field. Finished the game with a double-double, 25 points and 14 rebounds. Only 2 fouls and 1 turnover and 3 blocks to go with it. This squad has been incredible, and they know that they have one more to get. May the best team win, and a big thanks to the Augusta Jaguars, Augusta University, and Zach Tinkham for letting us be a part of the ride. It's all of you, because as I get to talk with him, I share that with you. So thank you. Our top dogs of the week, the Augusta Jaguars men's basketball team, vying for a national championship this Saturday, March 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. With that being said, we'll take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We are through our trio of topics, or trio of signature segments that we have every single week. And coming up next is what we always do, which is end each week with Pacer Pride, our exclusive broadcast featuring your Marywood University Pacers in our multimedia marketing partnership. And for the first time ever, we put a spotlight on women's tennis and head coach Dana Ciccotti right after this fast break to tell her story and the story of Marywood on this very special episode of Pacer Pride, coming up inside the Cafe Kubal Studios right after this. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be, from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cubal studios. You are watching and listening on youtube.com and facebook.com/Wake Up Call DT. And of course, you're listening on mixlr.com/Wake Up Call DT. This is your newest edition of Pacer Pride in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with your Marywood Pacers. And I'm very happy today to put a spotlight on women's tennis with head coach Dana Ciccotti. And Dana, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing well. And Dana, first and foremost for you, where did the passion come in with the sport of tennis? Where can you kind of maybe reach back to see maybe when that all started for you?
I've actually been playing tennis most of my life. I would say it probably started with my dad. He played tennis quite a bit, and he played what he called spin tennis, and just used a whole lot of slice. And I used to love to watch that. And to this day, he's actually one of my assistant coaches on the team, and still tries to employ that spin tennis with some of the girls. So that I played in high school and college, and just really enjoy the game.
Having your dad not only teach you growing up, but to teach you still today and to teach others, just what that's done for you and what that means to you to have a unique opportunity with your father.
It is a very unique opportunity. He's always been very involved with sports, with tennis, with softball. He participated a little bit as a coach in basketball, mostly with my brother. But he's always been involved with all of us and sports, and just focusing on the team concept and trying to employ new skills regardless of what the sport is.
And when you look at the different pieces that he's taught you over time, why was it imperative for you to have him not only teach you something and have you kind of take that and then move that forward and pay it forward and teach the young women, but the fact that you wanted him to be there to do it himself?
I did want him to be there. I think that it also gives it gives the other girls the opportunity to also learn some of the things that he gave to me, as well as he's a great statistician and helps me keep track of many of the stats, and also with recruits and things like that. So he's really a very big help, and the girls seem to enjoy him. He can be a goofball sometimes, and so my famous statement to them is don't engage with him, because he just is a goofball, but they enjoy him, and he imparts quite a bit of knowledge.
For you to have that very unique opportunity with your father, what are the things besides tennis that you take away from having him there?
Well, just the connectedness, the ability to work with him probably more closely than I might be if we weren't involved in tennis. I mean, they live locally. I live close to them, and I see both my parents frequently. But just the different level of connection and working together is very special.
And to those who don't know, I want to shout them out. I love giving them, name shout outs. So should I shout them out by name, mom and dad, and the two best things your mom and dad have taught you individually?
My parents are Tom and Peggy Moore.
Yeah.
They live close in Scranton, in the Green Ridge section. And the two things I think that there's probably thousands, but some of the most important are probably honesty and integrity, and being on time.
And having, Tom there with you and having these moments where you can celebrate this together. Where does mom fall into all of this? Is she a big fan of the sport of tennis as well? Does she put in her 2 cents, or where's mom at when you come home and maybe have a discussion about some things?
She was far more softball and could tell you any stat or any strategy with softball. Tennis, she plays more of a supportive role, and just adds her 2 cents in terms of team and overall working with each other. So she's involved, but more on the outskirts, and every once in a while she'll do a team pasta dinner. So that's always enjoyable as well.
Do you have a favorite meal that has been made at home either recently or when you were growing up?
Probably everything she makes. Thanksgiving is always very special, just with all of the things that she seems to be able to put together. But really anything she puts on the table has always been excellent.
Well, yeah, and you have a last name like Ciccotti, and you know that there's going to be good Italian food in the household. I mean, that's just
unfortunately, that's my ex-husband's last name.
Okay.
But my dad is from New Orleans, and So we grew up with a whole lot of Cajun related food and things like that. So it's been quite a mix, with a little bit of all kind of cultures.
Yeah, I hear the Italian from mom. So where did she get that? When you said making a pasta dish or something like that, or is it more of a Creole dish?
I think it was more self-taught because she's from rural Pennsylvania and didn't have any specific upbringing with a Creole dish or Cajun dishes or anything like that. But she's just self-taught and is pretty amazing in the kitchen.
Well, shout out to mom for that. Appreciate that as always. And to have not only to have both of your parents, Dana, but because this, Wake Up Call is all about where sports meets life. It goes beyond that, they have their wits about them. Like you said, statistically, they can name a bunch of different things. I mean, that has to be something that you value, I imagine, so much that not only are they here, but that you can have these conversations, still bounce ideas off of them and just, have them be a part of your daily life in such a unique way. And I know my grandmother, she had dementia and she was like another mom to me, but it was a mild form that she got it. And then it didn't really change for like a decade and, get really bad. And living to be almost 101, she was still giving me advice. And so I think that's incredible that you have this bond where you can call them up and say, hey, I was thinking about this. Do you think this would work? Or, I was going over the numbers and I thought maybe we should try that. It's fantastic that you have the opportunity to bounce ideas off. And I'm sure they love that too.
It is very, very special. They're in their late 70s. So yes, the fact that I have them and can talk to them like I might have when I was 20 or 30, it is a blessing for sure. So I keep that in mind every day.
So we speak about family, this women's tennis team at Marywood. How do you create that atmosphere? I know that you and your dad are there, so that's helpful. But how do we create an atmosphere where this team can truly bond and feel more than just a team?
Well, that's always been very important to me too. The social work area is my main career. So it's always been very important to me to make sure that, especially with girls, that there's a whole lot of bonding and getting along. So we do, when we start in the fall with our non-traditional season, we start with some different activities outside of tennis. We've done laser tag. We've done meetings where we just do silly games, icebreakers, anything that gets them to laugh, get to know each other a little better. We also just came back from spring break where we went to Orlando and we rent a house in Orlando where we all stay together. I think that's more important to me than actually a hotel because they're separated in their rooms. But we got to live together for a week and do just regular day things besides playing a whole lot of tennis. So I think that always helps with the connectedness as well. And I think the group is getting along very nicely and supportive of each other. And in the end, that's what's important to me. I want to win like the rest of them. I'm extremely competitive, but it's more important to me, the values and the connection that the girls are able to form playing college tennis.
Life living in the house with the whole team down in Orlando, what was that like?
It's a lot of fun. Sometimes there are little things that we need to work on, but really for the most part, this was the third year that we've done it. Some of the girls had been down before with the team. Some were new. So it's always an adjustment and a transition, but overall, it's been a lot of fun. We saved one day to go to the beach. We had one night that we went out specifically for dinner. Otherwise, we ate dinner together every night and then just tried to maneuver the matches and the practices in between. We had a whole lot of rain, so it was less busy than it might have been in past years, just based on the weather. But I think it was a very positive experience overall.
Yeah, and you look back on that trip there in the University of Sioux Falls, Ohio Northern, as well as St. Mary's College of Indiana. What were your main takeaways of that 3-match stint that you got to have down in Orlando this time around?
Well, I think it was more with the doubles teams trying to make sure that they were emphasizing the skills that they need to with communication and working together so that we can come back and play our conference teams. In singles, it's much the same thing. It's more just the experience and the ability to play tennis against teams that we would never see otherwise. Many times we go down there and it's hard to know really the strength of the different teams and pick and choose them that way. So sometimes we go down there and they're pretty strong teams. And I think you can always learn something from any of the matches, whether it's appears to be more of a blowout or regardless, there's always a learning experience that I think is positive for the girls.
When you come back, and like you said, there's always a learning experience in these moments, what do you think were the key things that they learned? What can help them from having that trip down to Orlando this time around? What do you think the major takeaways that you really wanted to bring home to them? What are those things as you get set for conference play?
Well, I think, and we talked about that while we were in Florida also, after the matches, what did you take away? What can we improve on? How should we adjust practice? What different things should we do? But also practicing like you play. So when we go to practice, we need to be as intense and focused on what we're doing as when we're playing in a match, so that we don't get to the match and we think, oh, what should I do? Or what's the right way to go about this? So it's just, again, the ongoing learning experience and pulling them into the conversation more so in terms of what worked, what didn't work, and how can we work together to make some improvements.
So you're back here, obviously, from your trip and the opportunity to get another match in here. And you had that against Clark Summit University on March 23rd and won that 9-0. Just what you could say about, the takeaways from that trip, and if you felt that they immediately were kind of put on display there to have a victory to stop a 3-game losing streak. What is your take from that Clark Summit game or Clark Summit match?
I think the fact that we were able to win that match is a very positive takeaway. Some of what we battle in the spring is weather, obviously, and it's been very cold, rainy. We're dodging rain constantly. That was a very quick match. I think Clark Summit is rebuilding and didn't have some of the strength that they may have in past years. But I think anytime you get a win, and we still talk about tactics and strategy, anytime you get a win, I think that's a positive, especially since we weren't able to really produce that in Florida. So we're very much looking forward to this weekend. I hope the weather holds out. We're supposed to play Pratt Institute on Saturday. That their home court is actually the U.S. Open in New York City, which is an amazing experience to play on and walk around on the same courts that so many of the big name tennis players play.
What does that do for you, not just as a coach, but as someone who played the game and loves the game, to step on a court like that? It's hard to even really describe, because even though we're on the outside courts, it's not like we're in Arthur Ashe Stadium or anything, but we're on the outside courts. We're walking around in the same areas, playing on the same courts that the big names have been on, and maybe it was when they were not yet the big names, but it's just a very positive experience to be able to walk around there and just experience the same thing. Do you have a favorite player of all time?
Well, of all time, I would say Martina Navratilova. Currently playing Serena. I like Serena Williams.
What is it about Martina all time that makes her your top?
As a kid, I think she appealed to me. It was interesting to me that she played so well and she was lefty. I think that the fact that she was so dominant as a singles player, but then was also able to transition to being dominant in both doubles and mixed doubles, and had just an amazing career. It seemed to me that that she was very workable in a partnership, but could also get it accomplished on her own. And she's very much a studier of the game. And I know even currently she's teaching and doing videos and trying to give more knowledge to whomever will take that.
If you got to sit in a room and have dinner with Serena and Martina, bring me into what you would want discussed at that table and just what you would hope from that experience.
Well, I would probably be dumbstruck for a little while, and I'm not sure that I could form words. But I think I would want to speak to them about just learning anything they could give me in terms of working with other teams, working with other partners, working just the whole mindset, because everyone's different. What you and I might like in terms of trying to work together on a tennis court could be totally different than what the next two people. So I always try to learn and figure out what is most helpful. And I think both of them, because they're both very successful, Serena as well with doubles and with mixed doubles. So both of them obviously do that quite well. So I think that would be the major part of my conversation once I was able to actually speak properly.
And Serena, as you brought up, your favorite currently playing now, she is so much more, and I mean, you could say this about Martina too, but each of them takes on their own personality, obviously, and Serena has become so much more than simply a tennis player. And I think to really put on the map with the promotions and the endorsements that she does, how outspoken she is, I mean, she has really taken her platform and work to become, and I don't like when people say this, and someone goes, oh, well, that's the Michael Jordan of this, or that's the whatever this. I think, she's the Serena of this.
Yes.
How would you define what she's done with tennis and what she's done with her career to really shed a light on big issues, and at the same time to, become that player that so many people want to play like and be like, because she's really not been afraid to take the spotlight.
Right. Well, and yes, she's a very, very athletic player. And I think that, believe it or not, when she first came in, her sister Venus was stronger than she was and would beat her in some of the finals. I remember watching a whole lot of finals between the two and thinking, oh, goodness, how do you pick one as the parent, and how do you support that? It's terrible. Of course, you don't pick. But I mean, her willingness to put herself out there, I don't think we can even explain or understand what effect yet that she has had, other than the obvious, for not only women, for women of color, for parents, for mothers. It's just an amazing, she's doing it all and currently doing it well. She's become very popular. She's very polarizing for some, but I think any celebrity these days especially can be very polarizing. But I think it's just immeasurable what she is showing young girls today of any background and any desire, career desire, that you can do it. If you put your mind to it and ignore the naysayers, you can do whatever you want to do. And I watch her raising her little girl as well, as much as we can see. And it seems like that's just an amazing relationship for her too. And I'm curious to see what she will grow up to do as well.
Coming from Dana Ciccotti here, as we feature women's tennis at Marywood University in this edition of Pacer Pride, exclusive to our partnership here with Marywood University on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Dana, before I let you go, to look back on what we have up to this point in the matches that you've seen in singles and doubles, as you have essentially plenty of season left, where is the team right now? Are they gelling? Are they catching on to some of the things you were hoping that they would kind of work through and understand, as we look at the fact that you have a lot more life here in the season and, of course, in conference play?
Well, we're only just really beginning our season. These first couple of matches are non-conference. Yeah. April 3rd begins our actual conference play against Immaculata University, which is always a very tough match. I do think the girls are gelled very well. And I always believe that we're learning all the time. So I do think everyone's incorporating a whole lot of what we're trying to give them and working together. I know that in the preseason poll, we were chosen as number 1 in the conference. So I'm excited with that. But I'm also reminding the girls about that, and also that we can't just rest on our laurels. We can't assume that because coach has said, oh, I think they're going to win the conference, that's going to happen. We have to work hard, even harder, because that's the expectation now. So I think they all understand that, and they're very focused on that. And I'm just hopeful that the weather turns around a little so that we can actually get these matches in.
It seems easy to teach a team that's picked last to have obviously a chip on their shoulder and something to prove. When they are picked first, how have you seen the team respond to the fact that the coaches did say, hey, we think you're supposed to win the Atlantic East? I mean, we got you winning this conference. How do you corral them? Have you had to corral them all at all because of the fact that this isn't a chip on your shoulder situation? This is a respect before the season even started.
Right. And it's something that I remind them of frequently, because we've not been in this position in a while. We've always been the underdog, or we've been really not in the mix for the top 2. So this is very recent. We made it to the finals last year and unfortunately lost to Immaculata. But that's been my focus, that we made it to the finals last year, and we want to get back there, and we want to do the work so that we can be victorious. And the fact that the other coaches felt that we were the strongest in the conference is not only an honor, but something that we've worked hard to improve ourselves. And we need to make sure that we don't just sit back and say, okay, well, we're number 1 in the polls, so we don't have to work so hard. So that's just a constant reminder, and just something that we try to talk about as much as possible.
Why did you choose Marywood? What was it about Marywood that made you want to leave Lackawanna and have an opportunity to teach here? Because I know you came on as an assistant and then eventually took over in the early part of 2018. So what is it about Marywood that back then attracted you, and what continues to keep you a Pacer?
Well, when the Lackawanna program was a new program, and there was some struggle with getting enough recruits and enough young women who were interested in playing tennis. And then when I saw the opportunity at Marywood, there was, of course, the current coach was here, and I saw that as a learning opportunity, that I could continue to learn more about the background things that go on, in addition to actually coaching tennis, but the recruiting and all of that other fun stuff. And unfortunately, he only stuck around until that fall. So the following spring, then it was all me. So I've continued to learn as well. But Marywood to me is just, I love the campus. I love the setup of the campus. So many of the programs are unique to Marywood, the academic programs. And just the visual environment, I think, is very appealing to high school students, and the camaraderie, the workability, the communication, that kind of thing, I think is very important. And I think that's what Marywood provides.
What do you think about the courts and the fact that there's, these new wraps, and obviously a lot of visual love for the Pacers, just what that means to you?
Well, the windscreens that were put up, I think last spring, right toward the end, was something that our athletic director, Pat Murphy, had wanted to do for most of the athletic fields and courts. It just brings that, it does make a difference. When you turn into that parking lot, you see Marywood Pacers. And I think that's, it's just very important on continuing to get out our name, and the fact that we are Marywood, that we are serious about competition, and that we are important in that whole group. And I think that the courts were resurfaced a couple years ago, probably 2 years. I lose sight with all of the COVID battles that we've gone through, like most of us. But resurfacing the courts was a big plus, very much so. And I'm hopeful that in future years that we can build some kind of a spectator area, because right now that's kind of difficult for parents or opposing teams or even our team to really have a place to sit and to put things without, and being able to see your other players. Right now you can really only see the first two courts. So there are things that would be great to add. But we're absolutely going in the right direction, and it's been very positive.
Here with Dana Ciccotti. In closing, Dana, when you're out on the recruiting trail, what I know you talked about some things about Marywood, but overall, when you're out there, what do you think are the best selling points of your program and about Marywood University?
I think the biggest part that I try to give to high school students is the how the girls get along, how they support each other, flexibility with schedules, because especially as an incoming freshman, you don't have the ability to schedule your classes. So we might pick practice for 6 o'clock at night. If they have a lab, they can't come. So I try to make sure that they know I will be flexible with that piece, as well as, any of the other things that come up. Again, I want to win and we need to practice and be competitive, but everybody is here for the education, and that needs to be primary. So that's a big selling point for me. I also really focus, like most of the coaches, on making sure the girls come to campus to see the school, to see the academic program, to get that feel for the campus. And we usually connect with at least one or two other girls, if not the whole team, when they come, so that they can speak to a student who's currently doing it. I mean, I could tell them all kind of things, but if they're living in the dorms or they're attending classes, and that's the kind of information that can make the most effect for a student. We just had a young recruit from outside of Endicott, New York, that came to our match the other day, and 5 of the girls spent time talking with her. Some of them were commuters, some of them were on campus dorm students or off-campus apartments, but they spoke to her for probably a half an hour, she and her mom. So I think that ended up being a very positive. I saw a whole lot of laughter and a whole lot of questions, which I think is fabulous. And that's far more than what I could give a recruit.
I know the Endicott area very well, and Union Endicott and all that. So with that being said, I am so honored and so privileged that we got the opportunity to feature women's tennis and you, Dana, here inside of our Pacer Pride specials. They come to you exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Fridays right around 10:30 a.m. Eastern time here inside of our broadcast. So for Dana Ciccotti and the women's tennis team at Marywood University, Pacer Pride is always a real thing. And Dana, thank you so much for what you do on and off the courts of life. And thank you for this awesome conversation to usher in you and I getting to talk. And I look forward to the opportunity to do it again soon.
Thank you so much. It was my honor and my pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Café Cubal needs. Café Cubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out there every Tuesday through Sunday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And of course, it's always while supplies last. So you want to get out there as soon as you can to get all of their fantastic desserts, all of their awesome muffins, and the M&M cookies. Oh my gosh, they're so very, very good. Of course, their pizzas are fantastic. Their breakfast pizza, second to none, in my opinion, in central and upstate New York. And all of those sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market pays it forward by having local products from local companies inside of their general store, as well as their indoor dining bistro opportunity, where they, for the community, come up with a new menu every single week for you to come back and try something new from the mind of Rebecca Alford, the head chef and owner of the Millhouse Market. And of course, their drive-through window to grab your food and go. Head out to the Millhouse Market today, be it 30 miles away, 100 miles away, whatever it may be. If you're going through the state of New York and it's in your travels, as well as if you got to go a little bit out of your way to get there, I'll tell you, the Millhouse Market is a place that you will go to once and want to go back over and over again because of their amazing flavors, their awesome ideas, and the fact that they truly connect us to the fabric of the history of upstate New York, as well as to the now. And I'm so grateful for the drive-through window to make it easy, the app to make it easy, contactless pay, the indoor dining, and of course, the general store where I've gotten their honeys, I've gotten their syrups, and I have brought stuff home from local companies in central and upstate New York thanks to the Millhouse Market. So I've been able to enjoy them every which way, and I can honestly tell you that the Millhouse Market is such a treasure that we have in our community and a diamond in the rough that continuously shines. So make sure you head out there today. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every single time. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, I want to thank all of our partners: Café Cubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, where you can go to maandpaspopcorn.com and order anywhere in the country and have it shipped to you. Pick your favorite flavor, try something new, and have it sent to you today on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's awesome connection at maandpaspopcorn.com. So go there today. Avicoli's, Canine Camp Ground, Honda City of Liverpool, Millhouse Market, Pizza Man, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Mother's Cupboard, and Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, you can hang out with the Dolphins of Lemoyne on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the first and third Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, featuring new episodes of AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, and every second and fourth Wednesday, having the opportunity to connect with us with the Dolphin Dive with student athletes, coaches, staff members, future Dolphins, as well as alumni telling their stories throughout the year, only here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of Dolphin Dive. So fins up always and all throughout the month for all of our specials. Get everything Lemoyne oriented with our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership by going to the Lemoyne tab of wakeupcalldt.com, as well as to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, and you can always find more information on the Dolphins by going to LeMoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood Pacers. Of course, Pacer Pride today in our feature with the women's tennis head coach Dana Ciccotti. Getting to do these every single week on Fridays around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time is a blessing. It's also a way that you will have Marywood coverage like you've never had it before. Just consistent spotlight on the Pacers, on my alma mater, and on all the tremendous coaches, student athletes, and leadership from Executive Director of Athletics Pat Murphy, as well as the president of Marywood University, Sister Mary Persico. So many wonderful stories to be told, and we've just begun. You can find them by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as the Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com, and get more information on the Pacers by going to marywoodpacers.com. The Bobcats of Bryan and Stratton College in Syracuse are also an exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. It is our absolute honor and pleasure to bring you the Bobcats every single month with our Bobcat Buzz exclusive spotlight on Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. We have been able to do amazing things in just a month and some change, and there are two fantastic specials coming up for you. And I say fantastic because you get to know the leadership and the national champions, Nick Dimitrievsky, with just an awesome conversation about leadership, how he coaches, and just going through the years of when he started to where he is today, recruiting, how things have changed, how they stay the same. Cannot wait to share my conversation with Nick Dimitrievsky with you in Bobcat Buzz. He is the athletic director as well as the men's soccer head coach and a national champion with the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. And of course, you can connect with our upcoming special with Alex Gregorita of the women's soccer team, the head coach of that team, as well as the assistant athletic director and a national champion himself. So make sure you connect with the Bobcats on our BSC SYR tab on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt by clicking subscribe. And of course, you can get more information by going to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. I would like to thank Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay for lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, and thank Juanita Ward for joining me every single week inside of the segment, and today for speaking on the topic, why not an eye for an eye? The top dog of the week, big shout out to the Augusta Jaguars men's basketball team as they get ready to tip off this Saturday, March 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS for the opportunity at their first ever national championship. The Augusta Jaguars will take on Northwest Missouri State this Saturday, once again at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and they, for their incredible run of 33 wins and 3 losses, looking for number 34 in the national championship, they have allowed me to be a part of their journey with Zach Tinkham, Marywood University alum, and I'm so grateful, and they are our top dogs of the week, as I had to postpone my travels last night, hence why I got in late, because I needed to watch the game, and I also recorded the game to watch it later. So God bless, and a big shout out to our top dogs of the week, the Augusta Jaguars men's basketball team for Division II, And of course, that brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, who I don't consider anybody better to drop off your furry loving friend when it comes to daycare for your dog or long-term care in the campground situation. There is no place better than Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, both in East Syracuse, around the corner from each other. The daycare on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, and the campground dog boarding on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse. You can go to K-9KAMP.com to get more information on the daycare. And on dog boarding, you can go to KAMPground.com for Canine Kampground. So make sure you check them out. And a massively huge thanks to Dana Ciccotti for joining me for the first time ever, putting our spotlight clearly on Marywood University Pacers women's tennis, and getting to hear her awesome opportunity to coach with her dad, her connection to her parents, and how they are close and continue to bounce ideas off each other, how it seems like statistician is something that runs in the family, as well as the fact of just speaking about family itself and going down to Orlando, getting a house with the whole team and bonding together, and of course coming back and having their Atlantic East Conference season coming up, as well as Martina Navratilova and Serena Williams talk, and just really getting to know Dana Ciccotti in a special that I already think is one of my instant favorites. So thank you to Dana, and thank you to the Pacers for Pacer Pride. So with that being said, find us on the socials. I'll be all over them this weekend, as we have plenty of March Madness going on for men's and women's basketball. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon. Thank you for a fantastic week of awesome conversations. I appreciate all my guests. I love you all, and I hope you have